All right, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another edition of the Uper Farmer Cigar Garage Talks. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm doing pretty good. Welcome to May. Welcome to EMS month, more than EMS week. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. What are we smoking? What are we drinking tonight? So we have. One of these days I'm going to look up how to actually pronounce it. The McAdoo 1968. Good little cigar. The band slips right off, which is kind of nice. Let's slip that off. Sometimes you smoke cigars, they actually will get thicker from the moisture and the smoke and whatnot. And then the bands get stuck pretty good. Nice little dark cigar. Good cigar. Not too bad. For the beer tonight, the Sugar Bush Upper Hand Brewery. As you guys know, I do record these videos in advance. We are just now hitting the midsection towards the tail end of the sugaring season, the maple syruping season. We're doing pretty good, actually. Our little tree farm, look at that there. That's tasty. Our tree farm does not consist of a lot of trees. We only have 7 taps out. But from those 7 taps, we've been able to get somewhere, I think, around 42 quart-sized jars. It's got to be more than that, because let's see. No, it's 36 quart-sized jars. Yep, it's 36. That's right. And we have 6 more that we just canned up today. So I usually don't count those. So yeah, 42 total. That'll leave us with about 12 to keep at home and 30 to take to market. Super excited about that. Those will go for a good price. I don't think my doctor friend is one of my followers here. He is a good friend of mine who's a doctor. Bought, I think, 3 or 4 jars off of us. And then as he's leaving, he's like, "You guys are charging way too little for the maple syrup." So we will be raising our prices on that, because he was right. We were not charging enough. But enough about sugar and about farmers markets. We're here about EMS, folks. Like I said, this is the month I'm going to really dive in, break down my career, talk about a few milestones, and then at the end of the month, I think we're gonna make the call. Are we gonna spend the next year renewing my license or let it lapse? During EMS week, which is in about 2 weeks now, we'll be doing a bunch of videos, maybe daily videos. I'm hoping to kind of crank out, and possibly a couple of giveaways. So stay tuned for that. Let's start off though, EMS month, nice and easy. Let's talk about the first call I was ever on in EMS. Now my parents, my dad especially, would sometimes take us to first responder calls. I do remember a handful of those, but not in great detail. It was something my mom kind of frowned upon, which is understandable. Normally I just stay in the truck while my dad went and helped package a patient up. But the first call I ever got, where I was actually to do something, I had some training under my belt. I think I might have shared this one before, but I'm going to share it again. I was in EMS or EMT school, taking it distance learning through the School of EMT in Marquette. I was actually part of the pilot program that got distance learning on the map in Michigan, so hoorah to us. Anyhow, we were I was a couple months in, I think about a month or so in, we started doing our clinical rotations. Mind you, I'm a high school student. Blood, guts, death at that point in my life really didn't bother me. But there was definitely this feeling of, is this what I want to do? There's a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, very high level stuff. Did I really want to do this? Did I want to be an EMT? I was having my doubts. I was definitely having my doubts about it. So I remember it was a late Friday night. Got done with school, went straight from school to my clinical rotation. Sitting in my scrubs, had my badge, had my jacket, got my little orientation to the station. They kind of just said, plop your butt down, sit, relax. We'll see if any calls come in. So about, 10, 11 o'clock. Now this is in December. Late November, early December. There goes the tones. Tones drop. Actually, they called this station by phone. They still do to this day. They actually give them a phone call. That's just kind of cool. That's neat. I find that really cool. Get on the phone. Medic writes down some directions, some information. Head-on car collision. 2-car PI. Or 2-car MVA. Multiple wounded. All right. So we go hauling. The medics give me a little bit of a pep talk and whatnot. I'm silently saying a little prayer to myself. And we show up on scene extremely icy. One of the cop cars actually slid in the ditch next to the accident site. We slid a good distance. The driver actually talked about chalking the wheels, which I didn't understand what that was at the time, but it's putting those big wedges behind the wheels. Something we're supposed to actually do, part of our driver's training. That's something we're all supposed to do. None of us do, though. Anyway, he chalked the wheels so the ambulance would start sliding because we're on a bit of an incline. Organized chaos, or chaos and organization, I guess is the best way to describe it. There's car parts everywhere. As we're driving up, I remember the medics basically saying someone's probably dead because there were car parts and engine parts and just carnage scattered everywhere. This was back before crumple zones were really a thing. So you kind of could gauge how much damage a vehicle sustained by how many car parts were everywhere. And these were older model cars way before crumple zones were a thing. So it was a car versus one of those big camper vans, the really big vans. Car didn't do so hot, it lost the battle. I go running up, I have this look, the first call, novice EMS student look on my face. The medic's like, just go check out the driver. So I run to the driver's door. I didn't really know what else to do. Ran to the driver's door of the van, and I froze. Absolutely froze. Something told me to grab C-spine, plop my hands out around the person's neck, and I didn't know what to do. My heart started beating fast, and there were sirens, and there was lights, and there was people yelling for equipment and yelling back and forth, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, I had clarity. Something clicked in my brain. A floodgate opened up of information and knowledge and what I had to do, and stuff was interconnecting, and I could see the dots, and I could drown out the distractions and focus in on my assessment. And there's a beautiful line from Bringing Out the Dead where he says, my hands moved with a skill and speed beyond me. And it was so true. I was asking questions I didn't even know I had to ask. I was doing assessments I didn't even remember I knew how to do. Had someone else, a firefighter came and held C-spine, and I did my head-to-toe assessment. I got medical information. I got medication information, past pertinent histories, allergies, signs and symptoms, what they remembered leading up to the cause, or to the accident. Seatbelt versus non-seatbelt, year of the car. I went and checked for the deformation in the front to estimate force, assess whether it was an up and over or down and under. It was all there, and it was beautiful. It was absolute beauty. I've had that occurrence happen a few times many times actually, if I'm honest, but that absolute beauty of just everything started to flow and flow perfectly. Like watching just after a dam bursts, the beautiful flow of the water just going where it needs to go. It was an amazing thing. I was able to give a full report to the medic. I then, after that initial adrenaline dump and shock of what was going on and realization, I became a much more functional member of the crew. I was able to put sea collars on, backboard my patient, load them up, gather supplies, run in and kind of be the gopher. That's what the students usually are, especially the first time out students. Gave a report to the paramedic, and the medic even said she was very impressed with my report. She was very impressed with my assessment. I had gotten in her book, she said she'd love to give me a 10 out of 10, but it's not possible. 8 out of 10, of course, she found stuff to rip apart, which I was glad for. I was glad that she wanted me to keep improving. It really was at that moment, I knew I wanted to be in EMS. I knew EMS was me and in me. And I wanted to pursue it. I wanted to live it. I wanted to be EMS. I felt that God was pulling me there, that it was a calling. Quite interesting, we actually had a visit with a priest friend of ours, and he was talking to some potential students who might want to join up to the seminarians, enter a life of vocation. And he says the day he dies, he wants the autopsy. He wants them to pull at their heart, because on the back side of his heart, it'll say born to be a priest, because he knew that was his calling. It was mine. Definitely. I think I have a couple of them. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I have a couple of tattoos back there, and I'll talk about that as the month goes on. But at that time, and for years and years after that, I knew EMS was what I was put on this earth to do. The beauty of it, being able to help someone's life. Now I won't say I saved them, of course. That's another thing we'll talk about later. About saving a life, what does it mean? But yeah, it was a beautiful situation, a beautiful call. Horrible, of course, don't get me wrong. Head-on car collision. No one died. There were definitely some very seriously injured people who got taken to larger hospitals and trauma units and whatnot. It's amazing, though. That call happened over 20 years ago now. And I know exactly where each vehicle was parked. I know the exact location it happened. I know the faces of the person. I know the injuries of the lady I treated. I could describe so much about the situation. If I was an artist, I could probably draw it from memory. Where the cop car went in the ditch, where the fire trucks almost slid into the back of one of the cars, where we parked our ambulance. The look on the lady's face when this very pimple-infected, bad haircut, bad uniform, little FNG walks up to her and grabs her neck, grabs her C-spine. Yeah, you grab the neck, you grab the chin and jaw and bony provinces and whatnot. And I can only imagine what must have been going through her head as I just sat there, and probably for only seconds, maybe even just 1 second, but just sat there and stared. Now, I don't remember the lady's name, not even to pretend I could. It was something I was very good at. We were actually taught and trained to forget names, but it is interesting. I do think back. Did she remember me? Probably not. She probably remembers the doctor who treated her or the surgeon who treated her. We're forgotten, EMS. People don't remember the medic who, or the EMT who helped him out. We definitely don't remember the student, unless we really screw up. Then they'll remember us forever and ever. But yeah, at that moment, I really did feel like God had put me on this earth to be a paramedic. Had put me on this earth to save lives. It was powerful. It was a very powerful situation. I remember riding back and thinking how easy class was going to be. I had it. I knew what I was doing. It clicked. Everything clicked. Scene size up, assessments, questions to ask, patient assessment, past pertinent medical history, medications, treatment regimens, differential diagnosis. It all started clicking. It was beautiful. The clarity of it all. The clarity that a head-on, very deadly, potentially deadly car accident can give you. Again, that's how I knew. I knew my brain was working differently. I knew I wasn't going to be an engineer or a nurse or a whatever else. Insert job here. From that day forward, I was gung-ho EMS. Light bars, stickers, jump bags, the whole kit and caboodle. Interesting, isn't it? The first call you have in EMS. Love to hear other people's. I love hearing people's first calls. What was the first call you ever ran? What happened? What didn't happen? You're telling. You really are. If you're in EMS or thinking about getting an EMS, you'll know by your first call. You'll know if it's something you're meant to do, or maybe you should pivot and move on to the next thing. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my Sugar Bush beer with my very thick cigar. It's getting hard to get draw through this cigar. I'm going to poke it a few times here, but ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're going to enjoy this. To all the EMS professionals out there, thank you for all you do. You do make a difference every day. I know it doesn't feel it. Trust me, we're going to talk about that during EMS week. It definitely sometimes doesn't feel it, but you do. So stay safe out there, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you on the next one.